Yee y'all, yee, it's your boy Purple back at it again with another video, and it's nice to see you. Today we are going to be reviewing Hitman 2. Now I'm just going to get the basics off right now. This is just Hitman 1, okay? This is just Hitman 1. But a lot of things have improved off of this version of Hitman 1. So you know what? Let's not get into all of it right now, but let's start. There are a lot of good things about the game. Okay, I realize that there is much improved AI. The AI in Hitman 1 was terrible. And I think that's due to the fact that you couldn't change the difficulty of the map. So like if you had it on low, then everybody would just run around you and like not realize where you were the entire game, and you could just kind of do whatever you want and nobody would really realize until you got trapped in a room by 8 bodyguards with automatic weapons and the only thing you had was like some poison. But it's improved in this game a lot. Like in this gameplay, there is a point where I go into like this brush, like this grass, and there's people chasing me, and I run into this grass and I'm hidden. I'm supposed to be hidden, and instead of me immediately just like disappearing from their view, which would have happened in Hitman 1, they chased me into the bushes and knew where I was because I was running. And when you run, when you're crouched, your back is up, so they could like see my back and they knew where I was, so they were like shooting at me. And I was like, that's actually amazing. Because like, do you know how unrealistic it is for someone to run into a bush and then they immediately get lost? Like, imagine like you're chasing you and your friend are playing tag, right? You're chasing him, and then he runs into like a line of bushes or like a line of like plants, and you lose him completely. No, that's not how it works, especially if you're trailing right behind him. You're not just gonna lose him. So I think that it definitely has improved over Hitman 1. And if you're wondering what I mean by Hitman 1, I just mean the Hitman that came before Hitman 2. But yeah, so it's improved a lot. The enemies are no longer like stupid freaking people that the only reason that you really kill them is to get their costumes. Something that is amazing about this game, other than the AI, is the maps. The maps are amazing. Like, I cannot stress this enough. The maps are amazing in this game. Hitman 1, I felt like had some pretty good maps and some pretty bad ones. I personally dislike Bangladesh. I dislike that map a lot. I felt like there wasn't anything to do, and it was just kind of like a moderate, boring map. But then maps like Paris with the Showstopper, I felt like were really good maps, because even though they had nothing, they didn't have like a lot of stuff to do, they had a lot of room for you to play around in. You know, and that's kind of what you want. You want a lot of room, because if you make a like if you mess up and you get consequences, like let's say you kill somebody out in the open and someone sees you, right? In like Hitman 1 maps, you could be feeling the punishment on the other side of the map. And I felt like that was pretty trash. Like if I run like halfway across the map, I shouldn't be able to hear about someone that I knocked out on the far corner, you know? I just don't think that's realistic. Like for it to, and then especially when it spreads in like 20 seconds, like I'll knock someone out and then I'll dip, and I'll be like far from where I was, and then there's still people that are like orange and they know who I am and what I've done right next to me, and I'm like, that's so dumb. But in this map, or in these maps, like Miami's an amazing map. I personally think Miami is the greatest Hitman map of all time. Okay, like Miami's just such a good map. It's vibrant. It's got everything. It's got colors. It's got freaking cars. It's got poison. It's got, you know, intense security detail. It's got bodyguards. It's got racing. I mean, it even has freaking pink mascot flamingos. You know? Like, what other map gives you the ability to dress up as a giant pink mascot flamingo? None. That's why Miami is the best map. Well, not really that's why it's the best map, but I do think Miami is a good map. The story also is really good. And yeah. Some other things about this game that I felt were really good is that there is a lot of ways to kill people in this game. Like, if you go through the challenges, there's so many ways to kill people in this game. On this map alone, there were so many things that I never had thought of. Like, there are options in this game to, like, make people go to certain places. So if you can force a NPC, like a target that you have, like one of the targets, if you can make them go to a certain spot, you can drop items on them, and like deadly items. And in one of these, in this map, you can drop a statue on them. So you can drop a statue on them. So can you imagine, right? You're playing this game and you use skill, which is something that I think is relatively new to the Hitman franchise. Skill, right? You use your skill to get this target to this location, and then you drop some huge thing on their head. I think that that's just so cool, and that's so smart. And back to my point about the skill, like in Hitman 1 there was no skill. It was, you could just do story missions the whole time, which story missions I'll get into later. Story missions, man, they make me mad. But like you could just do story missions in Hitman 1, and I felt like that was so boring. In this game there's so much more than just story missions or shooting someone in the back of the head. There's dropping things on them, there's feeding them to things, there's like pushing them into rivers, and like they'll go somewhere or they'll fall off like a thing. There's like ways to blow them up, there's ways to poison them. It's so much. There's so many ways to kill people, and there's so much skill needed to kill people in certain ways that I feel like wasn't in Hitman 1, which I just love. Like, I love a game that requires skill, because then if you're good at it, you feel better at it, because not many people are as good as you at it, if that makes sense. So yeah, the game takes skill. There's a lot of ways to kill people. The maps are amazing, and the AI has improved substantially from Hitman 1. Now, on to the bad things. I only had 2 things for the bad things. One of them was that it's basically just Hitman 1. And some of you might be thinking like, oh, I liked Hitman 1, that's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing that you liked Hitman 1. I liked Hitman 1. I thought it was fun. I mean, I thought that the AI was kind of lackluster, and some of the maps were pretty trash, but I had fun playing Hitman 1. And so I felt like that was like a really good way to transition into this game, was like knowing how to play Hitman 1 and not being terrible at it. That definitely helps play this game. But like, you could take that as a negative or a positive. Like, if you liked Hitman 1, then that's a good thing, that it's more like Hitman 1. But yeah, so it's basically just Hitman 1, and if that's a good thing to you, congrats. If that's a bad thing, yeah, I've just discussed what separates it from Hitman 1. So, yeah. The only other thing that I had that is bad about this game is the story missions. And when I say story missions, I don't mean like the story missions that you like take part of outside of the game. I mean like the ones where you start up a map and then you walk around the map and then it's like story mission revealing. Those are so bad. I hate those in this game, because in this game I feel like they're all just so lackluster, and they all have the same premise. Like, oh, like, go grab this item, and then you know, go get into this costume or this outfit, and then once you do that, the person will just like show up, or you go to that person or the target that you want to kill. You go to them, they go to you, whatever, and then you just kill them in whatever way you want. You know, and I feel like they're just so like boring. And I get it, they're supposed to be for like beginner players, and you can opt to not do them, but I feel like that's so bad of like, that's such a bad like game premise. Like, if I want to get better at the game, like if I'm new to this game and I want to get better at it, but I have the option to just completely opt out of getting better and completely just like, you know, go through the whole story and play the whole game and just do these stupid little story missions where it's just kind of like, oh, you know, pick this item up, get into this costume that is somehow right next to the item that you had to pick up, go to this location, kill this person, kill the other person using a different version of that same thing, and then you win, and then you just escape and it's over. I just think that's so dumb, and I really dislike that. But that's kind of it for the bad things about the game. Those are the only two things, and one of them is kind of a positive, in my opinion. But, I mean, you could take your own stance on how you feel about those. Some people might say that the story thing isn't that bad. But it's like, I feel like it is. It's just, like, it's about the bigger picture, you know? But, so, yeah, that's kind of it. I mean, and so, I'm gonna just say this. If you liked Hitman 1, you're gonna like this game. And if you like this game, then why not buy it? You know? It's, as I said, it's basically just Hitman 1. Just kind of in different locations and a different story. But that's not a bad thing at all. So, yeah. I'm gonna let the rest of this gameplay play out. But if you did like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you. But until next time, it's been your boy Purple, and I'm out. Peace.